This next book, I have just one minor issue with, and that was because I felt like this book was thrown together in a day. Now, it had a lot of errors. Like, it had grammatical errors that really irked me. And I was like, this book could have, I mean, if I wasn't so focused on that, this book probably would have been better. But there's three authors. It's called Girls from the Hood 6. And there's three authors who tell three different stories of basically girls in the hood and how they have to grow up. My favorite, I'm gonna start with my favorite story. It was called The Takedown by Amaleka, and she is a really good author because like she's able to like make characters like grow and then like bam hit you at the climax that you didn't even see coming. And I thought that was really good. Her characters were Giovanna and Lisette, and they grew up from the hood. They've done everything together. They stole. They I think they wrote the book on stealing. Like whenever something like was a bust, they took what they learned and they turned it into something else. And that's basically what they did. They scammed people. But stuff starts to go wrong and they start making their own different choices and they start separating from each other. And then towards the end, I can't even tell you how the end goes because the end was just that good. And it was just a boom. It was just this big climax. And, it had like the ending was just like, I can't believe that happened. I had to read that twice just to make sure. When you have to go back in the book to read why she did what she did, then that book is awesome. My second favorite story in this book was called The Red Bottom Bandits, and that one was by Ashley. It was a story by herself, and I think she did a really good job. I think that's the reason why I read The Product Plan, and it was about a girl who lost everything but made it back up doing what she knew how to do. And her name is Reagan, and her man is a dog. And what she did, I commend her for, because I would have done the exact same thing. But in the end, she ends up losing her son to that same man, which I just thought sucked. But I can't say the one thing I didn't like this book is that it doesn't end. You have to wait until she comes out with another story to find out what happened. But it was actually a really good read because she has to do things in order to get her son back. And she has these two friends called Chanel and Gucci who make up the Red Bottom Bandits. And basically what they do is the same thing that the takedowns did. They stole, but they stole from hood people. They stole from like drug houses, from steak houses, and then and the one time they decide not to do one together, everything just goes to crap, and they end up making very serious mistakes that I want to know what happened to them, but I don't get to know because her book like finishes like it doesn't finish. You have to wait until the next book comes out. So you should have saw me in my room. I was screaming like crazy. But that one was a good story too. Now my third favorite story was the last one, and it was by Jaquavis, and it was called Beauty and the Truth, and it was basically about how these two little kids, boy and girl, that's their name, Madison and John. Am I right? Yep. Madison and John. They, I have to look at my story to make sure I'm doing it right, but they end up growing up, but when they're little, they make grave mistakes, but it turns them into what they are when they start to grow up. John ends up going to prison, and Madison ends up growing up being this beautiful girl who sleeps with the kingpin and doesn't know what she's getting into. That's a crazy story because when John gets out of prison, he sees that his girl is with the one guy who was taking care of him all of his life, and he doesn't know what to do. But Madison is also a druggie. She's I can't say she's a crackhead because she handled her stuff well, but if there was something that was less than a crackhead, that's what she was. And she made a bad decision that forced That was like no. Madison and John are like Romeo and Juliet. That's all I gotta say to that book. That was a really good read. And the only problem that I had with this book is once again there were so many errors, like grammatical errors that you can just see them. They're not something that you cover up. I just felt like this book was put together, but it was a good book. It had really good stories in it, and I think that you should go out and go read it. It's called Girls from the Hood. It's by three different authors, and they're all like if you've read their stories before, then you'll enjoy this book.